In today's video, we're getting the S13 interior one step closer to being completed and installing some parts that I think every S13 hatch should need. So grab your popcorn, sit down, it's gonna be a good one. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Like I said, today we are working on the S13 interior and we are gonna get a ton of parts installed. It's gonna look like a completely different car when this episode is done. And the crazy thing is I'm leaving for a work trip to Arizona in 12 hours. Yes, 12 hours. So we're meeting up at 4 a.m. for a 6 a.m. flight. It's 4 p.m. on Thursday right now? 4 p.m. on Thursday right now. And I'm trying to get all of this done and filmed so I can edit it while I'm on the road to get this video out to you guys on Saturday. But let me show you what we're doing today. So if you watched the last video, which you did because you're a good subscriber, you would know we got the carpet, I would say 80% installed. The big thing we need to deal with is getting these edges trimmed down, which it should be pretty straightforward. I just really want to do it right. So we got to get those trimmed down and then get it trimmed back along here so that our trim pieces can go up along there. But in order to do that, we basically need to put in everything up top, which means A-pillar trim, headliner, seat belts, all the good stuff. Let me show you what we got. Got a whole slew of parts over here, but one of the parts that I'm most excited about and super thankful that the previous owner had already sourced for this car is manual seat belts. If you're familiar with the S13 hatches, they come with an automatic electric seat belt that goes up over the door. It looks dumb, it breaks. So we've got manual seat belts to put in the car, and it looks like the original seat belt buckles as well, which are a little cleaner than those, and they still have the plug down here. So we'll get that plugged in and get this all ready to go. With that, we're gonna be putting in the sun visors. These are more plastic trims that go up in the rear hatch, along with this stuff over here. And I say it every time I talk about these plastics, I cannot believe how good of condition they are in. So we've got the rear quarter panel pieces there, the kick panels that go down below on the driver and passenger side in the front, the other door sill. This is part of the manual seatbelt conversion, so the seatbelt obviously fits through there. We've got the other one in here, A-pillar trim pieces up there, and like I said, everything was wrapped up like this when I got it, and you can see why. I mean, these plastics literally look like I could have just gotten them from Nissan. And the last piece of the puzzle is this JDM headliner. So we'll be getting that all in the car. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff unwrapped and show it to you guys because this stuff is worth showing off. This is literally what dreams are made of. What in the world? Like, how are these so clean? Beautiful stuff. As you see more of these parts, as I build this car, all of this is why I had to buy this car. I could not miss out on owning this thing. So we're gonna start working on putting this together. And if you're wondering if I know what I'm doing, no, I don't, but we're gonna figure it out like we do everything. So from what I can tell, the best thing to do is get our headliner in first, because everything else around it is going to be part of what secures it in there. So we're going to begin by getting the headliner in, we'll attach the dome light, and then start getting our A-pillars attached and start working to get that headliner held in. Fortunately, we don't have a sunroof to deal with, so that's super easy to get that going. So I'm going to start there, work my way back and down essentially, and just start figuring this out piece by piece. Things are happening, my dudes. We are making some serious progress. As you can see, headliner's in, got our sun visors in, dome lights in. I need to figure out what goes there because that's the only thing missing from the ceiling. But I got the A-pillar trim in on both sides and started looking at the seatbelt on the passenger side. So we can get everything connected, but the one piece that's kind of hanging down, hidden there, that's gonna go in through the carpet. I'll jump over there and show you real quick. So this guy down here is basically gonna run down and connect into a hole somewhere in this area, and it's got this cover that goes over it, so it'll look, you know, something like that. But I'm gonna wait to do this because I wanna have the carpet perfectly in place before I start looking at where to get the hole cut, or not cut, we're gonna do the old heat technique with a torch. So it's actually up a little further. It's up right here, if you can see that in the shadows. There's a bolt hole here, so it'll connect down like that. And we'll get the hole all taken care of today, but we have to wait till the seat is in the car, which I'll probably do in the next video, to get this run through it. To get the seatbelt run through it and then connected down there. So we'll get that done later in the video when we start melting some holes in this carpet and getting those perfectly cut out. I did mention that in the last video that's how I did mention in the last video that I had an awesome technique for getting these holes perfect. I'll show you guys that in this video. Man, just seeing the A-pillar in there, this piece of trim that goes up the B-pillar, and then the piece that goes back down there, it's really starting to come together. So I obviously want to get the other piece that goes back here all in today. We're gonna make serious progress. We're gonna have this interior, at least the front cabin part, mostly done and ready for the seats to go in. I'm gonna wait on the door cards because I don't want to risk damaging those. Those will go in once the seats have actually been put in the car. Before I flip the camera around and show you what I'm looking at, I just have to express how freaking stoked I am seeing this interior together. It's starting to look like an actual car. For a long time here, it's just felt like this project that was so far away from being finished, but seeing the interior in this state is really doing something for me. Let me show you guys. So I had to throw these back trunk panel pieces in because in order to fit the piece that goes on the bottom side of the B-pillar, we wanted to have those in. It's just gonna make everything easier. But I've got the poppets holding those in. These things are like, how are they so clean? How? Just tell me how. So we've got those in, and let me dive up here and show you what we got. And here's a look from the front. Absolutely insane. Headliner, all the upper trim across the top is in. So the last trim piece is the big piece that goes over the inside of the rear quarter panel back here. But we're gonna have to do some trimming on the carpet first. So that's gonna be one of the last pieces that goes in. Before we do that, we actually have to do the part that I've been putting off, and that's cut the carpet along the edge here. So I talked about it in a previous video, but what I think is gonna be the best plan of attack here is, since we still have to do the seat holes, I wanna get all the seat holes cut, put the bottoms of the seat rails in to hold the carpet in place, and then we'll start looking at getting this cut. So it's really as close as it can be. Actually, it'll be in place when we're cutting this. You can hide a little bit of your sin over here because the door sill does cover some of it, but I want to get this as perfect as possible. So I think it is time. We're gonna start looking at doing these seat holes. I'm gonna work on the passenger side first because it's a little bit easier. Given that it doesn't have the gas cap and hatch release, we can move that carpet up and down a little bit. So I'm gonna show you the technique of how you get the perfect carpet hole. We'll start over on the other side. So here comes the fun part. We get to play with fire. But like I said, I need to get the seat holes into the carpet, and rather than cutting them and not having a perfect hole, I've got a better technique for you guys if you guys are doing this at home. So someone recommended this to me online, but I've got a punch here. It's like, the camera will focus. You can use a punch or a socket, holding it in a set of vice grips like this so that I don't burn myself, but you heat this up and then you can actually just press it onto the carpet where the hole needs to be, and it's gonna give you a perfect hole. This is slightly larger than the seat bolt, so you can see seat bolt fits in there like so. So I want this to be as tight as possible around the hole. So my strategy here is gonna be using, you can see our seat rails here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna locate the hole, poke it with a poker so we can get kind of dead center of where it is. I'm gonna mark it with a paint pen and then just line this up perfectly and get us a nice hole. And then I can use the seat bracket to kind of roughly get an idea of where the other one is and do the same thing, poke it, mark it, and cut our hole out. I've done it on the other side with the dead pedal. It works super well. So I'm gonna show you guys how I do it here, and you can do it at home. This is definitely the best way that I found to cut this. This is definitely the best way I found to make these holes, and you absolutely want to do this when you're in the car. If you do it out of the car, you'll have to buy a new carpet like I did, and it sucks. Just like that, we get a nice, perfect hole. Put that over it. Obviously we'll bolt it down and boom. I'm gonna go ahead and fully bolt these rails in. That way the carpet's sitting in place and we can start looking at getting this edge cut and pray that we get it cut perfectly. It's always something small. It's the slightest thing that'll prevent you from getting major progress done. So I was looking at the interior and trying to get those pieces put in on the passenger side, got the carpet cut along the edge, was putting the trim piece back in, and I was trying to figure out, I'll just show you guys. So over here, I was trying to figure out, there's a little clip on the back of the rear inner quarter panel piece, and then there was nothing for the clips that go up along here. And like you can see there's a screw hole, there's a clip somewhere else. Yeah, a clip up there. And I was like, where do those clip in? So I could tell I was missing a piece. Did a little research online, and sure enough, these guys right here are the culprit. I remembered seeing those in one of the boxes that I had of parts that came with the car. These things need to go in around where the speakers go, and they hold the speaker cover, surround piece, as well as this piece. So it connects everything over here. Unfortunately, I need to repaint these. They've got a bit of rust on them. I don't really, like, everything else in this car is so clean. I have no idea how these even have the slightest bit of rust on them, but obviously with as in-depth as we're going with the restoration and build on this car, I'm not gonna put these in here looking like this. So I'm gonna deal with these when I get back from my trip, but I do wanna get these all cleaned up, painted, probably put some of the sound dampening material on here because this is metal and we don't want those to rattle when the speaker is in there. So we're gonna get those all redone. And I'm not sure where I left off over here, but I was able to get the carpet completely cut and I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Anything that I am, not super happy with, actually I shouldn't even say not super happy with. Like, it's just hard to get a straight line along there. But when you pop this guy on, I'm not gonna put it all the way in, I had it on earlier. It looks perfect. It's absolutely beautiful. I was able to get this passenger side kick panel in. That's all in there. These guys are attached, and I'll show you guys the process on the driver's side now that I've got it figured out. And then we need to attach, like I said, the seat belt. Down here, I want to confirm which hole it goes into. I'm 99% sure, but just not gonna risk messing up a second carpet. I can't do it. I couldn't leave you guys hanging like that. I went ahead and popped the door cell back in just so you can get an idea of how well that fits. Carpet looks amazing. I've got this piece kind of tucked up there. So it all comes together really nicely. The seat belt is gonna come down and hook up somewhere in this vicinity here and gonna be nice and complete when it's done, but it's really starting to come together. I'm super happy with how it looks, just bummed that I couldn't get the rest of it together tonight. But you get an idea of how it's all coming together. So we gotta wait to get that piece fully secured until that trim piece is up there, because I don't wanna get any of those things fixed in there and then not be able to get that metal speaker surround put in. But god damn, it's crazy to see this car with even this much interior in it. It looks so good. I'm so happy with how this is coming out. But you get an idea what that's gonna look like with it just resting up there. It looks so good, you guys. I absolutely love the interior of this car, and the seats that we have are just gonna pull it all together. So it's definitely unfortunate that I couldn't get the rest of the interior put together because of those two pieces need to be cleaned and painted. But like I've said before, and I'll say it again, this car has to be perfect. I will never sacrifice quality of a build just to get something done. It's just not how I do things, and it'll be worth it in the long run. But definitely bummed that I couldn't get further on the project tonight.